Today I'm going to talk about the getting in the right headspace for what I'm about to do. The most curious thing happened. I've now finished my final long run. It was a 7k, just a 7k trail run. Not fast, nice and easy, and about halfway round. And bear in mind, this is with almost 10 days off of any kind of notable trail running, and about 3 days after a couple of days after my biomechanical assessment. And I ended up with this horrific stabbing pain in the bottom of my Achilles around my heel, like really extreme heel bursitis. Now, this is a problem I've not had for almost a year. This was the problem that dogged me through all of last year. Achilles tendonitis, heel bursitis, peroneal tendonitis. And I've not, throughout this training block, despite all of the problems that I had with my hip and my back, my heel and my Achilles have been just fine. So why did that day of all days, my very final, not even a long run, I mean it was just a turnover run, why of all days did it choose then to flare up? It didn't flare up when I did 50, it didn't flare up when I did 30, but a little 7.5k, and I was probably 3k into that run, and it really started to kick in. It was like someone had stuck a screwdriver in the back of my heel. And I just can't help but shake this nagging feeling that it's to do with my subconscious. For some, I've been racking my brains for the last couple of days to work out, is it my subconscious trying to warn me to protect itself? Because, you know, what I went through last year with that DNF on the 100, I mean, I got 84k in, but the last 30k for sure was just an absolute monstering of my body. And the pain that I went through, both with the Achilles and the heel problem, and then the blistering, which just savaged both my feet, and ultimately, you know, put a nail in my challenge. And I can't help but feel that my body's subconscious is deciding that I need to know this. It's just the strangest thing. I mean, last week it was my adductor that was giving me problems, and that came out of nowhere. And then this week it's my heel, and strangely enough today, I mean, I've been icing and heating furiously the last 48 hours, and all of a sudden my knees started to ache. And again, I've not done any walking, I've not done any running, I've been taking it really, really easy. And it's like this traveling pain through my left leg, which is the one that I get all the problems with, has just gone into overdrive, and it's like my subconscious is screaming at me not to do this. And so that leads you to, you know, that leads you to think, how do you get in front of this? How do you get a grip of it? And I'm very, very big on controlling my own thought processes. I mean, it's something that I'm very hot on, the psychology of all this. And so it's been time to have conversations with myself, and I don't mean that metaphorically. I literally mean having conversations with myself, a bit like this, but actually reassuring myself that it's okay, that I've done the training to work with me. Everything's going to be all right, you know. It's like I'm talking to to my 9-year-old boy, and you catch yourself sort of chuckling away, and there's no logical reason for it. It's not like my calves are over tight. I mean, I checked this out with a physio on Monday evening, and the physio said my calves feel quite good actually, better than they have been, and my hamstrings felt fine. My adductor was a little tight at the insertion point, but other than that, I was in fairly good shape, considering that I'd put a 50 and a 30 through my legs in short shrift. So I can only put it down to some kind of psychosomatic response, and that leads me into more esoteric practices, whether that be deep breathing, Wim Hof style, a little bit of meditation and visualization. And as a reminder that in this taper period, the thing that I can work on now is how I feel about it all and getting in the right headspace. Because the doubts were creeping in with that pain. It was like you're on a countdown, and am I going to even be able to get to the start line here? All of those months of work, all of those months of discomfort, all of that pain would be for nothing, and that leads you into having some strong conversations with yourself. And I think it's helped, but it's the damnedest thing, just out of nowhere, this pain which travels up and down. And it's in this period where you're easing off that it feels like the body's just trying to work its way through rebalancing itself in order to be ready, because it knows what's coming. And it really does know what's coming. There's going to be parts of this which are going to be horrible, that are going to be really hard, particularly for someone like me, particularly when you're built like me, particularly when you're older, particularly when your running form is shocking, as we discovered the other day. But you know what? I'm okay with that. It's just about finishing and getting through it, and not letting the doubts inside, not letting those doubts rule the choices I make, and actually just listening to what my body's trying to tell me, and really listening intuitively. And when I've done that the last 48 hours, the messages that I'm kind of coming up with are very much that it's a protection mechanism, and I need to give myself some reassurance that I'm gonna be all right. You know, the subconscious is an incredibly powerful thing, and those doubts will sit very, very deep. And in my experience, the best thing to do is acknowledge that the doubt's there, thank yourself for trying to protect you, but also reassuring yourself that you've got this. So the next few days are going to be interesting, but I'm reassuring myself that I've got this. Thanks for watching.